142 of the Chasing Points podcast. We are back again this week. We have Sam here. We have Harrison here looking like a defensive coordinator with his coordinator vest or whatever the hell that is.
Rex Ryan over here.
It's cold in here.
It is. Sam looks like he is like you run somebody's tour. Like that's what you look like. You just miss it. You're missing a lanyard right now. And I
got some behind me.
Yeah. See, there you go. It's true. It's true. And I'm just here. So we are back to talk about some football today. Majority of football. We got a lot to talk about. We got some Do You Cares at the end. But the first week is here. We definitely have my top ranked. We can see who won and who lost week one with our picks. I definitely can tell you right now I was not one of the winners because there's a lot of shit that actually happened this week. So interesting. And then we got some news to just jump right into. So before we do all that, gentlemen, how are you both doing today?
Great, man.
Why
football's here? No, it's just good. I was reading something,
okay.
But now I'm here and I'm focused and I'm attentive.
I hope so.
No, man, like 5 straight days of football, something like that. Like it's crazy.
Well, yeah, technically because college football. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Harrison and I don't get divorced, not to each other, but from our significant others after tonight. Then it'll be great.
Yeah, fully back in the swing. Great to have football back. Really good week of games. I hope you had some mac and cheese with you.
Yeah. Nice
inside joke on an outside podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Glad you brought that in here. And it's hilarious. Gentlemen, let's dive right into the news of the weekend, which we thought it would have just been solely about football. But something happened prior to a particular football player and his teammate before even entering the stadium. Tyreek Hill had an incident with the law. And there's videos out. Things aren't clear as to what has led to him being put in handcuffs. But in the video is shown him forcefully being shoved to the ground, him also being cuffed face down with a knee in his back, which is already a gasoline take on a fire if you see that in this day and age. Prior to going to the game, his teammates, Calais Campbell, amongst other teammates, had drove past, or Calais had pulled up. Saw what was going on, got out, said, that's my friend. He didn't actually say his teammate. He actually was on ESPN earlier today and said my friend instead of saying his teammate. And the officer, apparently the one that pushed Tyreek down in the video that you see, let him know that he was wasn't obeying his words and arrested Calais Campbell as well. They were later let go. They both played in the game where Tyreek, after scoring a touchdown, had a touchdown celebration where he put his hands behind his back and Jalen Waddle came and essentially escorted him to the vehicle. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on what has transpired with this situation? I have a lot, but I'll leave it to you gentlemen first.
Probably just more overzealous policing. We saw something really similar happen to Scotty Scheffler, which is a name I didn't think I'd bring up this early in the podcast or at all on this podcast, really, since we only do golf talk for 5 minutes twice a year. So, but that's immediately what I thought of. Yeah. Immediately what I thought of was like, wow, that's like the same thing that happened to Scotty Scheffler. So I'm sure he was probably speeding. I don't know. It's tough to like make any kind of remarks on it when I don't know what he did, why it happened, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's certainly jarring when you see Tyreek Hill face down on the ground in handcuffs, but like obviously it wasn't anything too serious because he played in the game later, so it's like I don't know, a lot of noise around probably what's going to be a lot of nothing. But then to have Calais Campbell involved coming in to de-escalate the situation and then also get handcuffed is wild since he's kind of, for all accounts, a gentle giant in a sense, like guy's 6'9", 310. And, if he was resisting at all, those police officers would have had a hard time. So him just like saying, all right, man, like take me away. But yeah, just an odd situation, odd bit of news to turn on your TV or open your phone to. on the first weekend of football.
Yeah, you hate it, especially on I know football started on Thursday, but Sunday, all this huge slate of games, the excitement there, fantasy people setting their lineup, doing all this, and then all this news comes out about, a lot of different things we'll talk about today, and then it's like, oh, what did Tyreek do? Like, what happened? And unfortunately, that was the first thing that popped in my head. But then you start, and again, I don't know, as I haven't been paying attention to too much of the story, so I don't want to jump in one way or the other. Harrison, I think you did a great job there, but it was right outside the stadium, right? In his
it was it's
$300,000 sports car, and just right outside the stadium, you could see fans in Dolphins uniforms, or jerseys walking by in the video. And it's hard, as you guys mentioned, when you start recording something and you're not really privy to what's happening before. But again, just an awful situation to start the day, and sadly a situation that is not just with athletes, right? You mentioned Scotty Scheffler, but just general, there's just an issue, and until we have kind of more information there, it's like, geez, do we have to go through this, kind of thing. It's
so for me in this situation, because I've been paying very close attention to it, because I'm always going to pay very close attention to these type of situations. And from the video, because I watched it from a few different angles that were recorded, it seemed that Tyreek was complying. I obviously, like a lot of people, are waiting for the body cam footage to see what started this whole situation. And obviously, if he was speeding, he was in the wrong. That's fine. But speeding doesn't require you to be put face down on concrete, have a knee in the back, and then forcibly be sat down. It's okay, give me a ticket, let me go, and then that's it. That's what a speeding infraction is. It's not forcefully putting somebody down face down on the pavement. So even if we don't know what has transpired prior to that, if it is for speeding or something like that, it's already in the wrong, which is why this gentleman is on administrative leave, and they are actually currently investigating it. Now, for me to sit there and watch this, Tyreek said something that was super impactful to me, and it's kind of a question that people that look like me say all the time, but it was more impactful in the meaning of what he said, as if I wasn't Tyreek Hill, what would have happened to the individual?
Right. I heard him say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he flat out said, I actually want to be a police officer later on in life. Like, I have my state trooper hat and all that stuff like that. Like, he's aspiring to be a police officer, I'm assuming, when his career is done or towards the tail end of his career. So I'm assuming he is compliant. And I watch people in the comments bring up past situation, what has gone on in his family. It's just like, this is, again, the internet trolls would do what they do. It has no place for what happened in that situation. But I just really would love to know why there was so much force used. And then why Calais Campbell, who, as we've known for years and in the league, is one of the more stand-up guys based on the awards that he's won, what he's done in all the communities, and how as Harrison said, he is a gentle giant. And for him to come there, de-escalate the situation, the officer told him, per Calais Campbell's words, to move his car. And he said, if you don't move your car, you'll get a tow. He said, you can tow my car. I don't care if you tow my car. I'm going to wait here with my friend to make sure he's all right. And the officer apparently didn't like it and cuffed him. So obviously when the body cam footage comes out, we'll have a clearer picture of what actually happened. And if what they both said is what transpired, it does not look good for Miami PD. If it's obviously the opposite way, we will come back and we'll talk about it either way once we have that. But I just think it's a really shitty way to start. And if anything, though, I feel that it impacted them in a positive way on the field and brought more connectivity as a team, which they found the light in the tunnel in the dark in this situation, which he could have went and had a shitty day after that. Honestly, he could have went on the field. He could have been out of his mindset, not really want to play, anything like that. And Tyreek went on the field and did what Tyreek does. So I commend him. I commend Calais and the other teammates and people that were going there. It's just a really weird way to start off a NFL weekend, and that's kind of like the headline at this point outside of the game. So it just sucks that that's what's taken over. But here we are.
Yeah, and when I say I wasn't haven't been paying attention, it's not out of ignorance. It's just out of like I saw that he was on ESPN this morning. I didn't get a chance to watch or do any of that. So that was my point there. But yeah, and I thought he was 2019 Walter Payton Man of the Year, Calais Campbell, when he was with the Jaguars. So I mean, yeah, just I'm glad the situation was de-escalated, regardless
Agreed.
of how it could have been so much uglier in so many ways, and Tyreek could, you know, a lot of different things could have happened there. So glad that yeah, they showed it on the field. And yeah, that's that. It's sad that something like that has to overshadow, football, the week 1 of football. But that's just the NFL. That's just the world we're in, and unfortunately, the world that we're in. So
Yeah. But on a brighter note for somebody else, Dakota Rain Prescott. After we all talked about Dak, and I mean all, meaning all media outlets that talk anything about football, talked about Dak and his contract with the Cowboys all summer long. Jerry and the Cowboys trolled America and said, you know what? We're going to give him a contract as soon as the season starts. And we're going to pay Dak and make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So Dak got a 4-year, $240 million contract, which he's now the highest paid quarterback, and $231 million of that is guaranteed. So he has the highest contract in the NFL by $1 million. Do you know who he beats out?
is it Deshaun Watson?
It is Deshaun Watson.
Because I thought that guaranteed money looked very similar. So that was very interesting. Yeah.
Beats him out by $1 million and then proceeds to beat his team's ass, which we will get into in a few. But what are your thoughts about the Cowboys waiting this long to do this? And how do you think this affects Micah? Because now he is the last one to potentially get signed. And there's a lot of money now taken up between CD and Dak.
I think this was the move to make. I mean, it's ridiculously expensive, but we've talked about this, and the sports world has talked about this for a couple years now. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and Tua and Daniel Jones are making a lot of money. In comparison, if you're going to play that game, $5 million more for Dak Prescott than Trevor Lawrence or Tua is a steal. Yep. Again, within the context of that, in that bubble. Yeah. But yeah, I think I think that was the right move to make. This team is still in a championship window, and it's, this is the struggle when you have, young, cost controlled players that are going to hit free agency. If I was Jerry, I would not waste any time with Micah. I would get that done. As soon as he's eligible to do that, just because of the impact he has on the game and how expensive that position is. He ran, this happened 4-5 years ago with Zeke and Dak, right? And dragging your feet and doing all this. I think it's just, you got to take advantage of what's in front of you. And you have a Pro Bowl pass rusher who's only getting better and is really young. Lock him up.
Harrison.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely right move to make. I mean, like Sam said, with the other contracts that are being thrown around, Dak at this price is a bargain in context. They're, like you said, the championship window, they're there. They have the pieces to be a contender. And if whatever they can do to put at ease kind of Dak's contract situation, which he didn't really seem too worried about it because he knows he was going to get paid either way by someone. That's better for that team. And yeah, you just got to get Micah done next, and you're going to have to pay your top 3 guys that type of money. That's kind of what it's got to be, and fill in wherever else you can in that roster. So yeah, Dak's going to produce. He's just going to be Dak. That's what he does. He's been so consistent throughout his entire career, and he's earned it. He's earned it. So we'll see what he does postseason success-wise. Obviously, that's a whole nother question. But if they continue to give themselves the opportunities in those moments, sooner or later, you figure they'll break through. And if not, it is what it is. But they're putting their best foot forward, and they're putting the best team on the field that they can. So Good move by them.
As an Eagles fan, it makes me happy that this happened. Because they are spending a lot of money on 3 potential guys, which means that when it comes down to it, they're probably not going to be able to pay certain people that they need to pay, which is kind of what happened this offseason. But within the first game of the season, it seemed to not have affected them losing a plethora of players that were key players. But I also I'm still in disbelief when I sent it to you guys in the chat. I was in disbelief when it came across my screen, and I was just like, I actually read it twice. And I was just like, so you had the whole off season that money would have literally rained in your face, in your possible bank account, and it probably could have even been more than this. And you said, you know what? I'm going to be a cowboy for life. His own words. He must be a cowboy for his own life. But he said something very interesting after their win against the Browns. He says, they held up their end of the bargain. Now I have to hold up mine. And I respect that. I respect that a lot. We'll see if that actually happens because he only has one playoff win. And obviously, it's not just solely on him, even though the media will make it all about him or Mike McCarthy. But I mean, kudos to him. Get your money. Yeah, and I don't blame him. He literally is to Harrison's point. He literally had all the leverage here. No matter what he did in this situation, if he left, the Cowboys were worse off. So, hey, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. Pay me as much as I want. And they did. $1 million more than Deshaun Watson. So, I would say that's a bargain compared to what Deshaun has done. So, kudos to Dak. And kudos to the NFC East. This is a win for us. But anyway, outside of, I guess, some other people. Injuries during week 1. Sam says he doesn't know if we need to talk about this, but
there's just one. There's just one big one.
One major one, and that would be Jordan Love.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Number 1, I will start with the play on Jordan Love by Jalen Carter was not a dirty play for all you trolling idiots that were running through the internet and saying that. What is he supposed to do? Just let Jordan Love run away once he's right next to him and he's scrambling? He literally did nothing but hold him. But as soon as I saw that pop inwards, I said MCL immediately as soon as I saw that. So apparently, from what Schefter has reported, it's a sprain. There's no official news at this point in time, but it sounded like he can miss up to 3 to 4 weeks, and that it's pushing more towards the front end of that to return. So that means Malik Willis will get his opportunity to ball or not ball. So Malik, I know you don't listen to this podcast, but if anybody knows Malik, please give this to him because I respect and I believe you haven't gotten an opportunity. Young man, this is your opportunity. And this is going to be your opportunity to show another team because we all know when Jordan Love comes back and all the money they paid, you're sitting right back on the bench. But some other team may want you and try to trade for you. So kudos to you. I hope you do ball out because you have a great team around you. And speedy recovery of Jordan Love. He's one of the from what has come out of this is the love that I've heard from and the league sources and all around that he's a very loved guy already in his young career. So definitely want to see him come back. Nobody wants to see anybody get injured. So
and he looked good. The team looked good. That was a fun game.
They did.
And I thought I think I texted you guys at the moment too. I was like, is Malik about to Wally Pip Jordan Love? Like it was an impossible situation to be put in there. And he's just been on the team for like 2 weeks because they traded for him. But, didn't have a great team around him in Tennessee. Was a high ceiling prospect, but certainly needed a lot of work coming out of college. I think he's 1-2 in his career, and he's never made it triple digits passing yards wise. So it's a tall order, but he has a great team around him, a great offense around him. So hopefully they can salvage this for a couple weeks. And
they have Colts, Titans, Minnesota, and Rams next 4 weeks, so they can stay afloat. Yeah, Colts will be tricky. Minnesota looks fine, but they played the Giants, and the Titans are Yeah, so they if they can find 2 wins in there, they'll be fine. And the injury doesn't last longer than 3 to 4 weeks, which if it is an MCL sprain, he should be okay.
Yeah, best case scenario too.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see a player go down like that, it's like
it was scary watching that. Also, since we're about to start this segment, is it an overreaction or not that the NFL keeps putting out shitty fields in the biggest moments that they're trying to put things on display? It's 2 times now that the Eagles have had to play on slippery fields. One being in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and now Brazil, where everybody was just slipping, falling, they can't get up. Rest in peace, DMX. Is it an overreaction or no that the NFL needs to do better with these fields?
Not overreaction at all. It's a multi-billion-dollar, product. What are we doing? Like it's just unacceptable. Like, and I understand we want to grow the game, but to put players at risk in this way, it's horrible, and I hate it.
It's not great.
Yeah, not what you want. And especially just looking at, I don't think I have any of it saved, but just saw some crazy stats about just the infrastructure and everything that had to like be sent to Brazil, and like this is not, like a soccer club coming in. They NFL just travels a lot heavier, and there were cargo ships, and
it's a 60-man roster for soccer.
Yeah.
It's a 250-man roster for football teams when they travel. So it's
like
a world of
cargo
difference.
ships and 10-hour flights and all of that. So the players deserve better in that situation. But wasn't surprising when you're watching the game and the guys are on the sidelines trying to figure out what spikes to wear and that situation. Unfortunately, that's just how we're too used to this.
Watching the equipment manager drilling the pegs on the cleats on the sideline, they zoomed in and watched him change them on the cleats numerous times to see what they had to happen. I mean, Saquon, his first drive, literally his first handle falls, like slips, carries, boom, down.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
I can't imagine the return of investment is worth it. Like I get you want to grow the game internationally, but I just, all the manpower that goes into trying to make this work, and then for it not to work. Like, imagine that first carry, Saquon blows his knee out, which is a strong possibility.
Yes.
It's like, how is that worth it for the rest of your season, the rest of your product? It's just not. So,
on top of the wildfire. On top of the wildfire that was going on there, on top of the colors that you could and can't wear, on top of the increased gang violence apparently that was going on there. And I know a lot of the players, they spoke about it in a negative light prior to, and then after going down there and experiencing it was great. And it's like, yeah, it's great for you because you guys were well protected in your certain area, but it's like, it doesn't bode well when you do this. Like you need to get better. I understand, again, yes, you're trying to grow the brand.
They will, and
they're already growing the brand. I mean, anytime you saw when it started with the London games years ago, and now you see every time the stadiums are packed, you see a multitude of jerseys. It's a whole event, so it's growing. You have, Jordan Mailata all the way in Australia. You got apparently the Eagles were number 1, Cowboys were number 2 most watched in the first week in Australia. Like it's global at this point in time. So you're doing what you need to do, but make those fields better because they're going to be blown ACLs. And also another thing that we didn't really talk about yet, but too much laundry on the field because this whole weekend has been nothing but flags, which is, here we go again. We're starting all over with that. But speaking of here we go again, is Deshaun Watson and Kirk Cousins cooked at this point in time? Overreaction or no?
You go ahead, Harrison.
Yeah, I think Deshaun Watson might be cooked. Yeah, it did not look good. It's obviously 1 week, but coming in all off season and not being hurt and kind of playing healthy throughout training camp and preseason, and then to come out like that and look like that against a Cowboys defense who, they're good. I don't think they're great. They're very good, but he could be cooked. Kirk Cousins, not ready to say that yet. New offense. everything's kind of new for Kirk. So I would say not an overreaction on Deshaun, overreaction on Kirk.
I would say the same thing. Kirk Cousins, a bit older, coming off an Achilles injury, new offense. I thought he would play better. I thought the team would play better, but I was not very high on this Pittsburgh Steelers team, but I know you guys were definitely. I know what that defense is. I know who that head coach is, and it's just a tough battle, and it was. I'm not worried about Kirk Cousins. Do I think if this goes off the rails, Michael Penix get to see the field a lot sooner than later? Probably. But I wouldn't be too worried about Kirk Cousins right now. I don't even know if he played in preseason. I doubt he did. I know Aaron Rodgers didn't, and similar injury. I think Kurt was on his plant foot though, so I'm not a quarterback, never played quarterback, but I can imagine a little trickier with coming up, injuring your plant foot there. Deshaun Watson was not, really high on, and then I was thinking about it, and I didn't get to see a lot of this game. I saw the highlights. I saw parts in and out throughout the day, but like just remembering like Clemson Deshaun Watson and like Houston Texan Deshaun Watson, and there's just been obviously we're a 180 from that in a lot of different ways, and a lot of discourse and a lot of stuff has happened since he last put on a Houston Texan uniform. But like it was hard for me to convince myself that these were the same guys. It just looks like he just looks like a shell of himself. And to this team, we talked about it last week in our previewing the AFC. Like they didn't, it was a pretty similar setup to last year. Joe Flacco under center and without your top lineman. And Joe Flacco played really well. So, I mean, again, coming off an injury, there's a lot of football to be played. It's certainly overreaction Monday in general across the league, but I think the people concerned about Deshaun Watson have a right to be.
So it's not an overreaction for Deshaun, and it's not it is an overreaction. I'm kind of back and forth on Kurt. I think he's playing too soon on his Achilles. I think he needed to take more time, which is possibly why they went ahead and got Michael Penix as well to do that. I think that was a smart move because I don't know what Kurt's going to be, and kind of throwing him out there right now as a hobbled Kirk Cousins. I don't know. Again, it's week one, as you said, Sam. It's overreaction Monday, but why Deshaun is cooked from Bleacher Report. This is very, very telling to me. So Deshaun Watson has only played in 13 games, and it says verse 30 because it's a comparison with Baker Mayfield, since signing a fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract. In that time, Baker Mayfield has had 44 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson has 17. Baker has had 18 interceptions. Deshaun, 11. Baker had 6,496 passing yards, where Deshaun Watson has 2,386. This is just...
It's not much of a comparison.
It's
not.
It's not. But it's just, again, you went and did all of this guaranteed money for this man. And Deshaun, where are you at? At this point in time, there's no more excuses. There's no more excuses. It's been the off-field issues. It was the injuries. And he had one really good game. I guess that was against the Texans that he had a really good game when he came back. I'm trying to remember the team that he played. He kind of went off against. But he's had one really good game in those 13 games. At this point in time is Stefanski is the head coach, correct? At this point in time, it's not just only on Deshaun, it's also on Stefanski. I believe that they need to figure out a game plan because with the weapons that they have on this offense, there's no reason that they shouldn't have put up that amount of points yesterday. It was absolutely terrible watching that game. The Cowboys absolutely stomped a mud hole in their ass the whole entire game. And the defense, you could see the defense. They were like, "What? Why are we putting any effort in at this point in time?" They essentially were just walking on and off the field like it doesn't even matter what we do because the offense is not even going to do anything. When I watched Deshaun Watson throw passes yesterday, he was off by yards. And I'm not talking about like 1 yard. I'm talking about like 7 yards in his passes. Like it was absolutely ridiculous. Don't know what happened to him. Don't know what he needs to do to get back. But they need to sit down and get back to the drawing board. I think what's worse about it is you have months to prepare for the Cowboys. The first game of the season is telling for me as watching a team when you have months to prepare for a team and you come out this flat and do absolutely nothing.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You have months. This is the only team outside. This is the only team that you have the whole year to prepare months for one team, and you come out this flat. You should know everything about them, their DNA, where their mom's mom lives, where their kids go to school, what they eat for breakfast, how many times they go to the bathroom. You should know all this about them, and yet you don't know this. And you get on the field and you lay an egg, essentially not in this case, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's just disgusting. It's just
next week is huge for them. They're at Jacksonville. If they can find some way to win there, then they got the Giants and Vegas, and then the Commanders. So it's not all terrible, but they really do need to find a way to at least win next week.
Clemson against Clemson. Wow, I like that.
Oh, there you go.
It's nice.
24 for 45, 169, a touchdown and 2 picks. Not going to get it done.
No, and even stat-wise, just watching the game, like Branden said, like he was just missed. He didn't look good at all. Like he missed a lot, Yeah.
I will give him props here. He's still one of the freshest looking quarterbacks out there on the field. Those orange cleats are so fire to me, but you still play like poop. So you just wore it all down, brother. So do better. Are we pumping the brakes on Caleb Williams at this point? Is it overreaction or not an overreaction? Go ahead, Mr. USC.
I would say overreaction. So the last quarterback to win his rookie start was in 2002. So for him they didn't do anything on offense, obviously, but they got the win. So we'll take that. He didn't look great. He looked jittery.
This guy.
We'll take that. He looked jittery. He looked nervous in the pocket. But he made some really, really nice throws out of the pocket and some good plays with his feet. So it's going to be... It's a long ride. Just wait. Just wait it out. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not worried about any of the rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah,
that played. It's too early. And this team, it just we talked about how this Bears team is better situated than most teams that get a first round overall first pick. And the defense. I mean, the defense carried them. And they were and they came completely carried.
Carried.
They were down 17-0 at one point and then just blanked. I mean, not that it's after what we saw, not hard to blank Will Levis and that offense, but it takes 53 guys to win a game.
Yep.
Caleb Williams first NFL game. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. If there's we can pump the brakes here.
You worried, Hayes?
No, I'm not. I mean, you both made the points for me. It's his first game. I'm not going to do that. If he's doing this after game 3 and the defense is still holding him up, then I'm absolutely going to be concerned. I mean, even if he starts doing it after game 2, I'll definitely be concerned. But right now, I'm not. Also, breaking news that just came across: Puka Nacua is out IR for games. That sucks because definitely wanted to see what him and Cooper Kupp could do together at having potentially a full season together, but I guess we won't see that.
You're gonna have to give him a couple games because they have at Houston next Sunday Night Football. I don't think he's gonna look much better. So we'll see. Let's give him some time.
We'll see. I know Caleb watching the game. He had a couple welcome to the NFL moments where he thought he could scramble and the defensive lineman was right in his face and was like, This ain't college, young man. This is grown men that are going to chase you down no matter what. But I mean, he also had some flashes, so it's just going to take some time. And then also, I mean, his rookie counterpart Odunze is getting an MRI, if I remember correctly. He's had a certain injury as well. I don't remember what the injury is, but that sucks to hear for that. The Panthers will have the first pick of the draft. Is it an overreaction or not?
Not at all. They are horrendous. Horrendous.
They're bad.
They are so bad.
They're-
I've seen enough of Bryce Young. I'm good.
I don't think that's fair. I
It's
really
fair.
don't. I don't.
Fair.
I don't.
You come out first play of the game and you throw a pick on a design. You design that play, like that's a design play, and you throw an interception. Like I'm good. I'm good.
I don't think
I didn't see it at Bama. I don't know. I was shocked he went number one. Shocked. So I'm good.
I think that's to answer the question. Yes, 100%. It's not an overreaction. They are definitely in the hunt for the first pick of the draft.
In the hunt, just mark it down right now. Just put him in there.
You're probably
I'm
right.
sorry, Giants fans. It's going to be Carolina.
Yeah. A buddy of mine that lives in North Carolina was having a conversation with me and talking to me about the Panthers. He said last year tickets at one point went down to $1. And I said, "You're lying." He said, "I'm not lying to you." He's like, "I wish I was joking about this. It's not." On Twitter, somebody said that they're going to start packaging Panthers tickets with your order at Bojangles. So
I would take that actually. Bojangles. Bojangles slaps.
I absolutely would take that as well. I think it's over for the Panthers. I'm not out on Young. I just think he's just on a really shitty team. He's just on a really shitty team, and his head coach that they brought over is this young guy that is supposed to be this offensive guru. That, if I remember correctly, who he had last year, Baker, right?
Baker, and then Gino the year before that.
Okay, and they did so much. I just don't.
I don't know, man.
They did a lot. He's alive.
But they both were on better teams.
I just don't like. What do you see with? There's nothing with Bryce Young. Like he has a mediocre arm. He's too small. He can't run. Why was he the number one pick? He was
the number one pick because he was at the time the best quarterback in college football. That's why
he wasn't. He wasn't though.
Literally was the best. Harrison, did he not
won at Bama? He won at Bama.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's fine. We can move on from Bryce Young.
No, we cannot move on. He won the Heisman. You don't just win the Heisman. It's not just given to you.
Eric Crouch won the Heisman. Doesn't mean he's
who the fuck is Eric Crouch?
Exactly.
Who is that?
He was a quarterback for Nebraska, and he was drafted by the Rams in like the third round as a wide receiver. And I don't think he even ever played in a game, but he won But he gets a stand up there every.
But was he
December
good
9th
in college during his time?
He won a Heisman.
Exactly.
Nebraska.
So, like I said, he was good in college, but I'm not arguing with you, Harrison, about his attributes. He is too small. That was the number one thing they consistently talked about. He's too small. How is he going to see over the line? How is he going to do this? And then they started doing comps to Sam's favorite quarterback, Drew Brees. And I was like, I wish you all would stop doing this because he's a smaller guy. Don't compare him to Drew Brees. Drew Brees is different. And then, again, to your point, Harrison, is he played for Bama. Sam knows, even prior to you being on the podcast, that I scream from the rooftop is these type of quarterbacks that play on these stacked teams scare the shit out of me all the time. I look at them, I'm like, you have NFL talent all around you at every position that you look at. And what happens when you're going to get drafted number one? You're going to go to a team that, yes, they're all NFL talent, but they're not those top players that you had all around you. So it's like I said, for Caleb, he went to a once in a lifetime situation. He went to a team that is already set in place to do certain things. He is more talented than Young. I'm not comparing the two. He went to a team in Carolina with an owner that is an absolute idiot. They've consistently been changing their coaches. There is no infrastructure there. It's terrible. It's like they took over. They said, you know what? Commanders, hold our beer because we're going to go and show you how terrible of an organization that we can possibly be. How it's ran is terrible. So I
think like anything, it starts into the ground. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
I mean, 6 coaches in the 3 years David Tepper's been there, including the interim ones. I think from what his body of work, we like Dave Canales or thought that this could get better, and it still could, but they're not playing with a full deck in the sense of that team is not. It's not good. And they picked the first overall for a reason, or they were going to, and then you give away more assets and you give away one of the top receivers in the league, top 24 receivers in the league, and DJ Moore, and who are you throwing to? I think Xavier Leggett was like the leading, got the most targets in the game, I think.
Best voice in the NFL, by the way, Leggett. Best voice in the NFL. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go look him up, people.
Okay.
I've got nothing else on Young. He should have been number one. Should have been Stroud, Richardson. Those were better quarterbacks coming out of college.
I'm sure the Texans are more than happy where he fell. So the Texans are the ones that are smiling.
And it's not 2020 hindsight. Like, this was obvious at the draft. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to like look back and say, oh, I was right. But a lot of people were saying this.
Oh yeah.
It shouldn't have been him.
Yeah.
And he's just not good enough. And this team is really bad.
It's the prisoner of the moment situation that a lot of these executives look at is it's the hottest thing that you've seen. You just saw this young man come off of scorching college football. And you're like, oh, that's the guy that we have to have. And then when you see the attributes that they have and how they compare to the NFL, and you're like, there's question marks. Like, as soon as you have question marks, and especially being a quarterback, and one of the number one things that you kind of need to have is height to see down the field and be able to see all these type of things. Like, it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. Arm strength is a huge part of being a quarterback. That's right in front of you. So some teams just take a risk. I wouldn't take a risk. I can see why Bill Belichick did what he did for so many years, even though he did draft terribly. But try to get more with your draft picks up top, because sometimes those guys are really hit or miss, depending on who it is. If you're not going like an offensive lineman or anybody on the line, you're pretty much hitting on all those most of the time.
I mean, Frank Reich paid for it, and you have to imagine, I mean, the resume, the QB resume that he has, both, I'm not that he was a stellar player, but he played in the NFL and he was a coordinator to a Super Bowl team that was an underdog and, has all of the makeup that we thought this was all going to work. But if you, even in the new rookie deal for these quarterbacks, which is much more palatable than drafting guy number one overall 15 years ago, you get it wrong. You set your franchise back. Even and this could be, could still be salvageable, but there's a lot of other things wrong too with this team aside from their quarterback.
Yeah,
but
100%.
It's on his shoulders,
To be fair, the rumor is Frank Reich didn't actually want him. He wanted DJ.
That's crazy.
That's the front office. So,
that's absolutely crazy.
So there's that. Justin Fields, speaking of quarterback, is potentially, he started yesterday, but could he be taking over QB1? Is that an overreaction or no?
I don't think it warrants any reaction. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be solid with him under center, and they'll be solid with Russ under center. So whoever they pick, I think they're going to do similar things, probably, 180 yards a game, maybe a touchdown. Probably not the scrambling that you'd get from Fields, scrambling numbers that you get from Fields, but I think they both can win them games or not win them games, not lose them games. So we'll put it that way. So I really have it's no overreaction, no underreact or whatever. They're just a really, really good defense, and we saw it yesterday, and they're going to run the ball really well, really efficiently, and they're going to win games, whoever's under.
Yeah, I guess the question and what I guess a follow-up question is, if Russ is quote unquote healthy in week 2, is he the starting quarterback?
No. I don't think you move. I don't think you move him. At this point, you don't move.
Fields didn't necessarily lose you the game, right? But did he win you the game? It was a quintessential old school Steeler game. Like it was.
That's exactly what I expected from them this year. Like, I guess you just go say, all right, Fields, you're in till you lose, and then
that's exactly the mindset that I would be in. Is at this point, you didn't lose us the game, but until you start doing some stupid stuff, and it's just like, all right, we gotta get you out of there. But the defense is gonna keep you in the game no matter what. Just channel your inner Trent Dilfer. You don't need to do too much.
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Just do just enough. A couple passes here and there, and let your defense do what it's got to do, because your defense is going to do more than enough, because TJ Watt is just an absolute monster amongst the other defensive monsters they have on that team. But Fields did look accurate. He was very accurate, and he was able to take it down and run in good spots. So I mean, if he can expound upon that, why not? Let's go. Let's see what the young man has. I mean, we see what Russ has, and this is not a shot at Russ or anything like that, but we know what we're getting with Russ, right? Russ is not that that escapability that Russ once had is not the same dynamic. Now. You know what I mean? Like it's not the same as what we used to see where he was just rolling out in a bootleg and he bootleg you to the left and then back to the right and to the left, and the next thing you know, the ball's down the field and Lockett is just looking at you laughing, right? It's not the same. So I say you just keep Fields there. I don't see to Harrison. I laughed at what Harrison said, but he's right. I don't think it does warrant a reaction because it's just it's week one. It's too early. Let's just see what happens. And again, we also have Mike Tomlin as the head coach, so we know that they're going to be above 500 anyway. So let's just see where this takes us.
That's Agreed. Agreed.
That's it.
I think they just roll. I would say they just roll with them for see what. Yeah, just keep it going and then make a change later if you have to.
It's very interesting to see what happens. They are also leading the AFC North right now. I heard somebody say that and I just laughed. I was like, it's week one, relax.
No one else want to know.
They just won. Dubs and L's this week. So I'll get right into it. Dub Cowboys.
Does that hurt you?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't believe they're taking a division and I don't believe they're going to do anything outside of that. And this is my point to this as I'm going to big them up. I'm also going to make this statement, so I'll say this first. I don't know if it was that the Cowboys played really good or the Browns played really, really bad. Because the Browns had the number one defense last year. And I know this is a whole new season. But as I said earlier, they definitely did not put a good product out there yesterday. I don't know if this is a foreshadowing for the rest of their season. And if it is what it is. But if this is just one game and they just needed to kind of get their clocks clean to get readjusted, which I don't think you should need after having months to prepare for a team, then we'll go with that. But the Cowboys look good. Dak looked good. I was already sick and tired after the first quarter of hearing, "Here we go." I really don't need to hear that over and over again, and I need the mics to kind of be turned down on that. Because I just don't need to be hearing that.
We don't like the Cowboys because you don't like Dak's cadence.
No. I don't like the Cowboys for many other reasons, but that hearing
I know that.
That one really gets you.
It's just something. Here we go. It's just whatever. And the fact that they put that in Madden too, that you actually have to hear that now, is crazy too. But no, the Cowboys really look good. Micah was everywhere, and I mean everywhere. This man was out there playing for a contract. He said, "You're going to pay me next, Jerry. You're going to pay me within the first 2 weeks because I'm going to be out here doing what I have to do." Zimmer's defense looked really good. I was curious to see what it looked like. But again, it's week one. I kind of want to see what it looks like after week 3. They play the Saints next, which should be a easy win for them. But the Saints did play well, but they also played the Panthers. So we'll see what happens, but they did look good. Mike McCarthy called a good game, and somebody should give Ezekiel Elliott back his number because it looks weird. Just saying.
So,
wow.
So Watson was sacked 6 times. He was hit 17 times, and it averaged 4.1 seconds to throw on a drop back on Sunday. On the sacks from pressure, he held the ball for almost 4.3 seconds. So
it's not what you want.
Yeah. So since 2000, this is from The Athletic. Since 2022, Watson has been the slowest snap to throw on pressure dropbacks of any quarterback across the league. 4.6 seconds.
That's elite.
Coincidentally, Tom Brady, who called the game for Fox, and we all know, like, historically probably the fastest, right? 3.2 seconds. So yeah, we can blame a lot of different things. And I'm not saying that the Cowboys defense isn't good. I mean, they took care. They did what they needed to do. And you mentioned just Mike all over the place. But yeah, you can't give NFL defensive line 4.6 seconds to get to a quarterback, no matter who the line is. It's not going to be.
It's not good.
Yeah,
not good. Not good. Sam, you have the Chiefs as your dub.
Yeah, I just thought it. The thing that limited the Chiefs last year, and was well talked about, was where are the weapons on this offense aside from Travis Kelce, and we saw a breakout year from Rashee Rice last year, and it seems like that is continuing. And Hollywood Brown's on the field, and Xavier Worthy played really well. And it was, Pacheco ran effectively, and it was just a good look from the offense. And this is a team where Travis Kelce didn't really do much, and that's trouble for the AFC. And this team got it done without a stud wide receiver last year, and now again without Hollywood, that can certainly stretch the field. Not that Worthy can't, because we all know where he came from and the crazy 40 time and all that. So I just team looked good. It was a tough game. Ravens are a tough opponent, and just I thought a big win for this team. And
I went back and listened to the podcast because I just remember our conversation about Worthy, and I just felt so elated to see what I knew this young man would do.
Yes, totally.
But I also found it very funny that there was I think it was on DraftKings, the bet was for Travis Kelce to get 5 plus catches. And I said, what does Vegas know? And they knew that he wasn't going to get over that. He didn't get much because they were spreading the ball so crazily. And Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, I want to punch the Bills in the face. I think the whole league should just line up and just punch the Bills in the face for trading the pick to the Chiefs and letting them get another weapon as if he needed another Tyreek-esque person that is, I don't know, the fastest person in combine history to run the 40. And you think that's a great idea to trade and know that guy's sitting right there and let the Chiefs get him. You pick somebody, Bills. You pick somebody. You pick him, and you trade him away to somebody else.
Who need a wide receiver, and ended up trading back and getting Keon Coleman, who is not a. I mean, it's not a burner.
Yeah,
but he's not a burner, but he should be a pretty solid receiver, and he's funny as hell.
He is. He absolutely is.
So, we talked about this in April. If there was a fit of a draft prospect and a team, it's. You put Xavier Worthy on the Dolphins or the Chiefs, and like, oh my God. So and we saw it. And again, I questioned, what I said was, and I did not go back and listen. I was planning on it, but my intentions were, can we just hold off here before we just say that Xavier Worthy is that dude? Because we've been here before. It looked great. He looked great to do an end, like your first possession, your first touch to get an end around like that and just burn. Yeah, he did get touched. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like insane. And I think the backup tight end, the second string tight end, forgot his name. He got the same amount of targets as Kelce. So the ball was totally spread around.
Yep. And that makes them even more dangerous.
Yeah.
Is that you don't know who the ball's going to at any point in time, and they can hit anybody. So shout outs to them. Harrison, you have dynamic kickoff.
I do. It was electric. I love it.
Boogie, oogie, oogie. Got it.
Yeah. So obviously it caught a good amount of flack. People hate change, yada, yada, yada. But yesterday there was some crazy fun plays coming out of the dynamic kickoff. I saw a stat last year. I think 32 kickoffs were returned. This year we're up to 54 in week 1. So I think we're going to see a lot of fun plays out of the dynamic kickoff. The Bills-Cardinals game had an incredible one by 100 some odd yards by a guy that runs like a 4.8. So I don't know how that happened, but it was really cool. The Bears game, they had some wild ones happen. So I'm in on the dynamic kickoff. I think it's a big winner, and I'm here for change.
I have nothing to add to this, Sam.
Come
I read
on.
it and I said, when we get to this part, I have nothing
I
to
got a
say.
zig.
Sam, you can go ahead.
Yeah, people hate change. I
Hate it.
used to know that there was like a stat behind that of like people that are just like crippled by changing anything. I'm fine with it. Whatever. It's
It's a winner.
it's cool to see kicks get returned back. That's
Yeah,
fun. That wasn't
it's one of the
happening
best parts of football. It's seeing a
post Devin
return.
Hester. I feel
Yeah.
like you don't see a lot of that. So
I mean, not even just the return itself, like flipping the field. You get scored on, and you get an opportunity now to you're not going to start from your 20, but you're going to start from 30 yards further than that. If you can get to the 50, then I don't know. It's just, I think it's going to help offenses out a lot. I think it'll make the game more exciting, and week 1 proved that it does.
I mean, Turpin took one back for the Cowboys, so there's that. I mean, that was electric. So it's really nice to see returns. I know the league was trying to crack down on that because they wanted to lessen the concussions and whatnot, but I enjoy it. I mean, let's see where it goes to see what happens. I don't like the rule of the onside kick, though, that you can only do it when you're down, and I think in the fourth quarter, I think is the only time. I absolutely hate that. You should be able to do an onside kick whenever the hell you want to do an onside kick. You just keep people on their toes, but whatever. My next one is the Bears defense.
That's a good one. They did actually win the game.
Because the Bears defense was the Bears offense. Because the offense wasn't doing its thing. Outside of the one field goal they made, the Bears their defense scored every other thing. Shout out to Simone Biles' husband for a scoop and score. He said, "You know what, babe? You're not the only one out here winning." And he went and tried to do his thing out there. It's funny because I had a friend tell me that he was going to get cut from the team. He went to go to support his wife, and that did not happen. You know who you are if you're listening. But the Bears are flying all over the place. Is it Jalen Johnson? Is the cornerback is an absolute beast. He was everywhere, and if you threw to him, your guy was getting touched, not in a nice way at all. So that defense looks really, really good. So I just wanted to give them their props. Now, if the offense matches up to that, which I'm sure they will, as they build that cohesion, they will be able to do what they actually need to do and be able to put some numbers up. And along with that defense, they could make some noise in the NFC North. Okay, I guess you both have nothing to say. Sam, you have the Chargers.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Hayes. I have the Chargers here. Look, they played the Raiders. As much as we like the Antonio Pierce hiring, this team is that Vegas team is flawed a bit here, and not that the Chargers have their own problems, but really when we talked about it in the offseason, how many games have they lost where either they were too aggressive or just weren't playing smart football? And I think they just played really well. They weren't getting anything done the first half of the game, and then all of a sudden, like J.K. Dobbins runs all over the place. I mean, your number one receiver on the team gets kicked out, right? Josh Palmer, but just a big day for the team, and they just made the right adjustments at halftime and came out. And there's always incremental increase when Jim Harbaugh has taken over a team, and we've seen it. So I don't think a lot of people are expecting much out of this Charger team, and there's still a lot of things that need to get better, sure. But I just thought it was a nice win for the Chargers.
I agree. I think they looked completely different than any Charger team we've seen in years past. They're just a level of physicality they played with. Just organizationally, they look just so much better and just more cohesive. And I'm excited for their future. I think there'll be a tough team.
I was reading an article that made a lot of sense. I mean, the Brandon Staley Chargers would have abandoned the run, and Herbert would have thrown it a billion times. And they stuck to it. I mean, this is what Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman do. And, Greg Roman was on the Niners with Kaepernick. He was, when Lamar was drafted, he was in Baltimore there for a good amount of time. I mean, this is what they do. And, so we knew they were going to run the ball. But if J.K. Dobbins can look like pre-injury J.K. Dobbins. Like, yeah, that's going to be a fun team.
Yep.
Harrison, you are going to give your back-to-back for your winner and then go
right
to your loser. But surprisingly, you don't have a winner as the Cardinals. I wonder why. But you have Dak Prescott. So why do you have Dak?
First of all, the shots at the Cardinals are wildly unnecessary. They looked good. They were up 17-3.
Listen, as long as you
were you a little worried to start that game, Hayes?
No, as long as you continue to put "Go Birds" on this rundown, there will be slander for the Cardinals. So continue with your Dak Prescott, sir.
I'm perfectly fine with my Cardinals pick, and they looked good to me, and they played a tough Bills team on the road. So you'll eat your words soon enough. Dak Prescott, simply, I have 240 million reasons why to get the bag right before you play a game, and then beat the hell out of the Browns. That's a winner for the week. So we'll go right into the loser. Rookie QBs did not look good. Jaden Daniels had maybe one or two flashes. Caleb Williams had a couple throws here and there. Bo Nix looked horrendous. So just rookie QBs in general did not have a good day. So that's my loser.
I mean, to be fair, you had a stat of how many rookies have won their first game, and they're always the easiest welcome to.
They're just a loser, just a loser for this week.
Yeah,
we're excited about their future, but this week they caught that L.
I think Bo Nix looked really good outside of the mistakes that he did, and he started to you can see him kind of catch the game speed in the second half. But he definitely threw some horrendous picks. Jaden looked. He had a few scrambles that were phenomenal.
He did. He's going to be.
He's going to be fun. Like, this is once he gets the passing down and he gets the game speed and he's able to accurately pass and he's able to pull it down and do that. He's going to be extremely dangerous because he can read you very quickly and get out of that pocket and get to where he needs to go. He needs to learn how to slide, so maybe he needs to call up Caleb and have them send the slip and slide down there to them, and maybe that'll work out. But
good reference.
Thank you, Sam. You have the New Jersey Giants.
Come on, you're so disrespectful. You're so disrespectful.
They don't play New Jersey. They don't play New Jersey. No.
I can't wait to call the Camden 76ers. Can't wait for that.
Go Philly.
It's coming. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I have the Giants, and I'm not even going to talk about the uniforms, which we knew were horrendous. But
why weren't they wearing pants?
Bro, legit, it looked like they were not wearing pants.
Why aren't they wearing pants?
It was wild.
I had the game on, and my wife, who is a Giants fan, she's in the room, she's like, "What are they wearing?" And I had to go and explain how, this is really bad. But that wasn't, it'd be one thing to be wearing that, but they played just like they looked, and it was really bad. I mean, they made Sam Darnold look like, I don't know, he threw for like 80% and 9 yards completion or something like that.
I think I looked on my phone. He was like 19 for 19. I'm like, what is
something
happening?
Crazy?
Yeah.
So this is a really good situation for Sam Darnold. But like, come on, like this was bad. I think Daniel Jones, since signing that contract, has thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns. Which is just insane because he only played 6 games last year when he signed that deal. So in the last 6 or 7 games, he's thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns, which I think is 3-2. So this team is a mess. If the Panthers weren't, as bad as I'd say, that they'd get the first pick, the Giants in the draft. But this, and it's compounded by the performance that we saw over the on Friday from Saquon Barkley. And I know they wanted to feature their new their really high performance toy here, and look what we could do with Saquon Barkley. Look what we could do with a capable organization and offense. But to score 3 total touchdowns, to look really good, and then after all the Hard Knock stuff and then the Wink Martindale stuff, you getting into a fight with Dable and letting your defensive coordinator go, and then you give up 28 points to Sam Darnold. And
it's okay because Wink didn't do too well for against Texas this week.
Yeah. So maybe that's a good point. But anyway, the Giants aren't very good.
They just got caught with their pants down.
I see what you did there. I don't like it, but I see what you did there. I'm going to take a second, and I'm going to say...
Oh, he's going to pour gasoline on it.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually going to try to put some baking soda on this fire for Daniel Jones. Because Daniel Jones... hear me out.
All right.
This is not me defending Daniel Jones' play. He's god-awful. I call him Danny Ducks. While they've called him Danny Dimes for longest, he's Danny Ducks. He's just throwing ducks out there. So it's not about his play, but it's about the expectation that Giants fans had for him because of what the front office did. And they decided to extend him with all this money. And what comes with an extension is Super Bowl aspirations. They set this man up for failure in New York, New Jersey, the tri-state area, to be the biggest punchline, period. This man literally was hounded. People waited after the game for where the players leave and waited and said, Danny, give me $1 million, calling him all this stuff, burning his jersey in the parking lot. This is game 1 of the season, and they're burning his jersey in the parking lot. This guy has to sit in one of the toughest media outlets in the world and has to now hear this over and over and over again everywhere he goes. Because you live in New York City. I'm sure he's walking around going to his local deli, blah, blah. Hey, Danny, when you going to throw a touchdown? You know what I mean? Something like, it's going to be stuff like this. So I do feel for him in that sense because I can only imagine being a villain in New York and having no place to kind of go, and it's gotta suck. But the Giants just suck, and it makes me happy, especially because of Harrison's golf buddy that loves to talk a whole lot about his Giants, and I just want to let him know his Giants suck. And I could have told him this over and over and over again. And you talked about Saquon going to the Eagles, and it wasn't going to be good. Well, how did that work out, buddy? Thank you.
Who's your golf buddy?
I will not say his name out loud.
Harrison. Do I know him?
You do know him.
Oh, okay.
You do. And that's enough for me. The Browns, we've already talked about at a nauseating extent on this podcast already. So I will not go, I will not go any further with what the Browns have done, but they suck. So, Harrison, it's back to you. Tom Brady. Explain.
I just thought he was not very good in the booth. I thought he was kind of boring. And anytime I can throw a shot at Tom Brady, I will do it.
That's fair.
And that's all I really have to say. He wasn't Greg Olsen bad, like where they just had to get him off the air immediately. But he really didn't.
Whoa. Greg Olsen should still be on the number 1 spot.
He
should.
But
you don't like Greg Olsen?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But I thought Tom Brady was just a little boring. I thought he'd bring a little bit more.
He's a rookie.
He is a rookie. He's a rookie quarterback. You're right.
He's a rookie to media right now. He's a rookie.
You're right.
You got to put him in your L's of rookie quarterbacks. It's it.
I won't write him off just yet. But
okay.
I'll wait.
Your window is 3 games, so 3 games for him. They got 2 more. So
who's a pretty good commentator?
Yeah, he's got 2 more.
Who's pretty good? Mark Sanchez. Just saying. Tom Brady.
Oh, what game was he on?
I don't know. He every time I hear him, he sounds pretty good.
Okay.
No, Mark Sanchez is really good.
Yeah, he does a good job. I just wanted to, as a Jets fan, broadcaster Tom Brady is vulnerable, where quarterback Tom Brady
was not
untouchable. Yeah. So that's just my shot as a Jets fan.
Listen, Sam, I'll let you get all you got to get off for the Jets because in a few hours you're going to be stressed as hell. So you get it all out as much as you can because you're going to be.
Thank you.
You're going to be stressing for a few hours before you go to sleep.
Jets are cruising tonight.
Oof.
I don't know about cruising against the 49ers, but okay.
Cruising.
Okay.
Cruising.
That's the
I
name
have
of
too
this
much
podcast, by
anxiety
the
to
way.
watch. I'm gonna watch, obviously. I have too much anxiety about it. We'll see.
Cruising. You'll be fine. We'll be fine. Go Birds.
My last L here is the Packers, and I really like this team. I like this offense. Not having Jordan Love for a couple weeks is going to be rough. So we'll see if, again, to my point earlier, if they can just kind of weather the storm here. And it's a shame for me because I have a lot of Green Bay Packer wide receivers on my fantasy teams, and I really like this wide receiver core. And now I don't feel like I can start any of them until Jordan Love is back or Malik Willis shows us something, and I'm not entirely sure that's possible as much as I'm rooting for him. So he's in the right system to do it. We'll see. But so L goes to the Packers just because they have playoff aspirations, Super Bowl aspirations, and this is going to bother Jordan Love for a while, regardless of, whenever he comes back. It's just because he's a human freaking being. So that's it.
I don't have anything to say about that, but to add to my Browns thing, there's just came across my screen a new civil lawsuit accusing Deshaun Watson of sexual assault and battery in October 2020 when he was with the Texans. So, Deshaun, keep at it, buddy. My last one was the Panthers, but again, another team we've talked about to another nauseating extent, so I don't really need to do that. So, let me go right into the power rankings. I don't have the Niners in my top 5 because they haven't played yet. That's the only reason that I don't, and I don't know what they look like yet. But just based on what the projection is, I see them being in my top 5 next week. So we'll see what happens.
Fair.
But
yeah, that's fair.
At 5, we have the Texans. They played against the Colts. They had one of the better games. I kept texting both Sam and Harrison saying this game was extremely good. I could not take my eyes off. It was one of the 4 games on my screen, and I definitely had the audio on for that. Just seeing what C.J. Stroud, newly signed to Jordan Brand, by the way, was wearing some lovely one cleats. He did a couple scrambles in the game, which is another aspect of his game that he didn't really highlight last year. Was more of him in the pocket, passing and moving out a little bit. But the way that he rolled out a few times, it's going to give teams another element to think about, and that defense is just still good.
Dude, and Joe Mixon
really, really good.
Too, CJ did all of this. I was burying Joe Mixon last week, but he did all of this without a running game last year. Dameon Pierce was not healthy all the time and inconsistent. Devin Singletary, is a solid running back, but not, he's not going to, do what, you want your running back to do. But if they have a running game and Mixon ran all over this Colts team, that look out, man, because you can't just, you can do a lot of different things when you have to respect the run.
I knew Mixon was going to have a great day when I saw the finger tape and no gloves. Him carrying, I said 100% he's running all over his team today. And that's exactly what he did. The Bengals, I'm sorry you missed out on keeping him and you should have kept him, but that's a whole other thing. Cowboys at 4. Excuse me?
Zach Moss looked good, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I don't care. Mixon should have kept Mixon. They needed him. Cowboys at 4. The reason I put him at 4 and not a little bit higher is because I don't know what the Browns are. That's the only reason. Is I don't know what the Browns are. If the Browns are a more competitive, the defense that we knew that they were last year, their offense kind of turning around, then that Cowboys win projects them even higher for me. But it's the first game, so we don't really know what it is. But what they did is they stopped the mud hole in them, so they still deserve to be in the top 5 no matter what. 3 Eagles because they played the Packers, who were also considered to be a Super Bowl contender. And people said prior to Jordan Love's injury, it was between them and the Lions being the Super Bowl contender or the face of the Super Bowl for the NFC. And they won. There's a lot of things that they actually have to clean up. And by they, I mean Jalen Hurts has to clean up. So we'll see what happens with that. Jalen, stop being the hero. You don't have to be the hero. Just hand the ball off to Saquon or throw it to him to flat. Let Legatron do what he's got to do. At 2, we got the Lions.
That was a fun game last night. Aside from Puka going down, that hurts my soul.
It was a very, very, very fun game. It seems every time Stafford comes back to Detroit, he gets his heart broken in the last few minutes of the game. I was upset with the game last night because I wanted to go to sleep at a decent time, and they decided to go into overtime. So thank you guys for that. But it was fun to watch. Jameson Williams, this is what we've been waiting to see from him
so happy.
Since coming out of Alabama, and the flashes that he showed, him and Gibbs to get, oh my God, that is a fast offense. And just think they did this without Amon-Ra St. Brown doing much in the game, period. So just imagine all three are going at once. Laporta did his thing too. But if they all are clicking, it's going to be wild. And that defense, Aiden Hutchinson is a monster. Absolute monster.
One more L, NFL overtime rules. Still stink.
Yeah, I don't like those rules. When they laid out the rules and I was reading it, I was just like, okay, so one team, whoever gets the possession, if they score right away on a touchdown, the game's over. But if they don't score, the other team has a chance to rebuttal. But if you hold the ball the whole possession, then you win that way. Like, it's just weird, really weird what they're doing. I know the NFL is trying new things. And to your point earlier, Harrison,
fine with change.
We got to be okay with change, which we are, but it's poop right now what they're doing.
Yeah,
so
it just doesn't. It's not good.
We'll see what happens. And number one is the Chiefs because they got faster. Their defense got better. They lost Snead too. To think about that, and they're still a solid defense out there as well. And they did this without, again, Kelsey, who has been is arguably the best tight end ever, doing too much. So that is my top 5. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Surprised you don't have the Patriots in there.
You're not surprised I don't have the Patriots in there. You're not surprised at all.
I would like next week, I want to start doing a reverse power rankings. So I'm just going to do.
Okay.
You can do that one, and then I'll do the worst.
Harrison's
the worst 5.
upset that the Cardinals aren't in there either because
they looked good. That's all that matters.
They
right?
started really strong. What would you have done, man, Hayes? If the weren't they up? They were up like 17-3 or something.
They were,
man,
and they looked really.
That would have been a fun podcast.
Kyler was running all over the place, throwing the ball,
and then I mean, how fitting is it? I mean, again, rookie wide receiver, but Marvin Harrison just wide open to the game.
Yep.
Bummer.
We won't talk about that part. We'll talk about the beginning though, not the end.
Yeah, it was fun. Solid rankings, my friend.
Thank you. It's only week 1, you know.
Are we worried about the Bengals at all, Sam?
I am.
Okay. Oh yeah. Are we worried about Joe Burrow?
I am.
Yeah,
totally.
Yes.
Especially because
preview,
I was.
Yeah. The preview, I said I'm curious to see what type of Joe Burrow we are getting, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. I don't.
Yeah, we haven't seen him be Joe Burrow in a while.
No.
Yeah,
and it's very scary.
They lose week 1 every year though, so I'll give him more time.
That's
but
fair.
I am concerned.
Wasn't anticipating T. Higgins to have a injury, before the season started either. And this Jamar Chase thing is like, is he going to do this every week? Like, is he just going to play without the contract? I have no idea. But it's going to be a headache, and this defense clearly has some issues too. But nice win by the Patriots there. It was cool to draw Mayo, get your first win there. That's great. So,
yes,
but yeah, I'm worried about the Bengals.
Week 1 records. Mine is terrible. This is excluding Monday Night Football, which is tonight. I was 5-10. Sam was 12-3. Shout out to Sam. 9-6. Harrison. Shout out to you and the listeners. 11-4. So I just did terrible because I just said, you know what, I'm going to go against the grain for that one. I did not do that this week because I need to catch up. So
12-3 is impressive.
It is. It is very much.
Should have put money on it. Yeah.
You should have, but you didn't. Week 2, Thursday Night Football. The Bills at Miami. I have the Dolphins. Sam has the Dolphins. Harrison has the Bills. Sunday. Here we go with the rundown of that one. Niners at Vikings. I have the Niners. Sam has the Niners, and Harrison has the Vikings. Whatever.
We're gonna zag this week. We're gonna. It's all right. Yeah.
Harrison's gonna have my record this week.
He's already playing defense. Harrison's already playing defense on the picks.
I dig it. Seahawks at New England. We all have the Seahawks. I could have sworn one of you had New England before.
It wouldn't be me.
Shout out to Jacoby. The New Jersey Giants at the Commanders. We all have the Commanders. The Chargers at Panthers. We all have the Panthers. That is a joke. We all have the Chargers because the Panthers are a joke. New
Across
Orleans
the country.
at Dallas.
Watch they win.
Panthers.
Yeah, watch they win this week somehow.
Yeah, of course they would.
Bryce Young throws
Cowboys,
for 400
we all
yards.
Have the Cowboys. I think that game's going to be really good, the Cowboys against New Orleans, surprisingly. But I'm saying that because I just hope it's good, but it probably won't be.
We'll
Colts at Green Bay. This would have been good if Jordan Love was playing. That's not the case, so we all have the Colts.
We did not bring it up earlier, but my honorable mention of a dub is just Anthony Richardson. He's got the complete Anthony Richardson experience yesterday. 2 bombs for touchdowns. One of the nicest throws you ever see. It didn't even look like he meant to do
70 yards in the air.
And then some of the worst throws you will ever see. And it looks like he's a guy who's only been under center like 15 games since high school. And that's because he has only been under center professionally in college, and like just the volatility is insane there. But yeah, no, he's a fun player to watch.
Before we go back into this, I will go back to the point that Harrison made. I think it was Harrison made last week or when we were talking about him. This is Cam Newton. That's exactly what Cam Newton did. Cam Newton would throw a bomb and then he would throw a pass. That was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then he can run the ball, but then he can just launch it down there. So it looks like that early, but we'll see what happens. But he can clearly make all the throws because he has that arm power. Is ridiculous.
The 70-yard one, he was like stumbling right before.
Yeah, he slid. He slipped. He slipped and then was just like, all right, whatever, here you go.
I was like, excuse me?
It's like that. It's that Mahomes meme. It's like, F it. Tyreek's down there so
much. Yeah. Cleveland at the Jags. Wow, Sam. Harrison and I both have the Jags. Sam has the Cleveland Browns. I don't even want to know. The Jets at Titans.
If the
I'm
Browns
going to change that.
All right, that's fair.
I'm changing that.
No,
okay. We're all Jags now. There we go. Good.
I'm going to go Cleveland then.
Okay, you're just being extra now.
I'm seriously though, like if they start 0-2, they are in huge trouble.
Yeah,
I did change.
They're going to be in huge trouble then.
I did change the Cleveland-Dallas game. I did have the Dallas Cowboys, and then I walked it back, and I changed it. And then when the graphics got posted, it obviously said the Browns. I did make a mistake. I had Harrison picking the Cowboys. He didn't last week, but I did.
I picked the Browns last week.
You did.
That was a mistake.
We all did.
Yeah.
And my sister, who we all know very well on this podcast, is she texted me when she saw that graphic, like, no love for my boys, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, I almost had him and I chickened out. And she has been just texting me nonsense all day. And it's been so great. It's so great.
That's hilarious.
So shout out to my sister.
All right. We're going to get through the rest of this. So both of you shut the hell up. Jets and Titans. We all have Jets. Tampa, Detroit. We all have Detroit. Raiders at Ravens. We all have Ravens. Rams at Arizona. Sam and I both have the Rams. Harrison has the Arizona Cardinals. I will not put what he put. Go
Chiefs, Birds.
Wow, ridiculous. Bengals at Chiefs. We all have Chiefs. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals won that game. Pittsburgh at Broncos. We all have Steelers. Very interesting. We all have that. Sunday Night Football, the Bears at the Texans. We all have the Texans. And then Monday Night Football, the real Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Atlanta Falcons are at the Eagles, and it is all Eagles. It is a bird fight on that one. It's bird watching on that one. So there's that. Gentlemen, do you care? I'm going to already answer for all of us as I do this, and I'm going to immediately go into what I have to say. Jason Dominguez has been called by the Yankees with 19 games left in the season and a half-game lead. So when did this happen, Sam? This happened today?
It happened at like 4 o'clock.
Okay. I guess they got tired of hearing everybody talk about Jason Dominguez need to be called up. The fact that Aaron Boone and Brian Cashlessman have been out here talking about, oh, Verdugo we really believe in Verdugo and shut the hell up. What you could have done is you could have DFA'd Gresham because he ain't doing a damn thing for the Yankees. You could bench Verdugo so he can still be on the team, still bring that quote unquote dog mentality and bring that energy to the dugout, which is Swisher esque. Keep him there and put Jason Dominguez out there, who is better than both of those gentlemen and has been on a hot streak, and let him play. So you finally do this after every media outlet in New York has been on your ass about this. I feel like this move was only done because everybody continuously kept talking about it. But I'm so glad that the Martian is here. Thank God for our baseball cards. Let's go. Value up. Value up.
Yeah, right behind me. I displayed it this morning.
Value up.
In solidarity to Jason Dominguez. I have his
value up. Let's
there
go.
You go. I have two
value
of them
up.
too behind me. And I think this is what happens when you leave Chicago and you don't hit a home run all weekend. And you also didn't give up a home run as the pitching staff.
True.
And but yeah, here we are. Jason Dominguez, 44 games in AAA. Now he was, rehabbing from Tommy John surgery, but hit 314, 8 doubles, 11 a triple, 11 home runs, 16 stolen bases. 21 years old, and he is going to play every day. They will have a quote everyday role for him. So
Good.
To your point, Hayes, Verdugo is probably going to see the bench more than
As you
you're
should.
not sitting Judge or Soto.
No.
You can DH them, but he should be out there every day. Verdugo's hitting 235. He has a WAR under 1 in 137 games, but over the last 2 weeks he is hitting 302. That's something. But here we go. Like, it's 19 games left. You're a half a game up on the Orioles. You end the season playing 3 games against the Orioles. Like, your best players need to be on your roster and playing. And that's just it. And here we are. So
I got nothing. I'm excited. Been waiting a long time to see him play on an MLB field. So
I'm glad that he's back on an MLB field.
Yes, he did play last year.
That injury sidelined him for so long, and it's just been. Sam can attest to my love for the Yankee farm system. I'm more into the farm system than I am to the main team, because I love seeing what they have. And what really pissed me off, or was pissing me off about this whole thing, was, so you don't put these guys in trades when teams come calling and you want these star players, and you say these guys are non-negotiables, you don't move them, and then you sit here and say, you know what, they're not ready yet. Even though they're raking, they're moving through your farm system, moving up in the ranks over and over and over again, and you sit there just like, you know what? Meanwhile, you see the Dylan Cruzes of the world getting called up. I know Bobby Witt's been there for a little bit. You're seeing all these guys just continue to elevate over and over and over again, and you're watching the James Woods of the world just out here raking while you got a guy that's killing down there, and you're just like, you know what? I should sit him down there a little bit longer. Until they did that with Clint Frazier for the longest. They did it with was it Peraza?
Andujar.
Andujar. You continuously did this, and you're like, you know what? Then their value is nothing, and then you go to move them, and you get peanuts. You get nuts for nuts outside of Yankee
worth
Stadium.
Nothing at this point. They did do it with Augustin Ramirez, who is a catching prospect for the Marlins. They traded him for Jazz Chisholm. That's been great. But this would be an example of, okay, now we have a prospect who is pretty good and has jumped to that elite level. Let's get what we can now, because Austin Wells has quietly turned into one of the better catchers in baseball. Both.
Yep.
The bat was never a question out of college and in the minors. The defense was, and I saw some stat that he's like top 3 in pitch framing this year. Like, so the strides that he's made defensively too make a guy like Augustin Ramirez expendable, and you get Jazz Chisholm for the next couple of years, and we've seen how his play has ignited this team, and his selfishness to play wherever he needs to play and do whatever he needs to do, and that's great. So it's here. They probably were manipulating some service time to get some additional incentives there, but this guy in 8 games last year played great. First at bat in the majors, home run off of Verlander. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see what we got here, because we need him. We're half a game up on the Orioles.
Absolutely.
And there's not a lot of time left.
Shout out to Jazz Chisholm for telling those haters that said he was overrated to hold his nuts for nuts. Brought to you by Yankee Stadium. Anyway, do you care? The guy that has crushed the boy is headlining. You big as the Super Bowl was the line in first person shooting.
I think that was the line. Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar is headlining Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans on February 9th. Do you care? If you can't tell by my tone, I do. I love the shots that he also took, because there is no round two. There is no round two when you're playing for championships. Do you guys care?
I love it. I was on Instagram. I saw that he posted on a story, and like because he doesn't do that unless something was coming. So I'm like, oh, this is an album drop or something. And then I saw it, and it was PJ Lang, which is his production company with Dave Free. And I'm like, oh, so this is legit. And I just started, I think I texted you guys first. I was really, really excited. So I thought that little promo reel with the jug machine those comments were funny as hell. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's interesting that it's in New Orleans too. So my first thought was, does Wheezy come out? And
absolutely not.
Probably not, but I thought it would be funny. It'd be it's a fun thing to speculate on. But
I was gonna put Drake in my L's of the week, but my hatred for Tom Brady trumped that, and then I'm also in the Drake fan club, so I couldn't quite do that. But I am still excited for this. Kendrick's got plenty. He's got hits on hits, and he's going to put up a good performance.
It's so satisfying to me.
Satisfying.
Because I get to watch the boys fans sit there and crumble and have a panic attack, and they have been ever since this announcement has
who are the boys? What is that?
The Boy?
Yeah.
Well, the Boy is Drake. That's his nickname, The Boy.
The Boy.
Drake fans don't like too much context and lyrics, though.
Yeah, no.
Jesus.
So it was just very fun to me, because outside of just saying the round two part, if you break down a lot of things that Kendrick's saying, is also references to several other diss tracks that he had for Drake, which I love the breakdown of that. But cute. I just love the fact that this young man is capitalizing on top of this. I also think this is a subtle slight from Jay-Z, who's had his back and forth for years with Drake himself, and somewhat with Lil Wayne, as they've at the same time were saying who was the best rapper alive, and to basically say, you know what, it's in New Orleans, but we're not going to have you do this, and we know that you're not going to come out on stage because you support Drake, so that's not going to happen. I do, in all fairness, though, even though I'm very, very happy to see Kendrick do this, I would have loved to see Lil Wayne do it, and have a New Orleans kind of reunion with the Hot Boys, because he's actually doing a Hot Boys reunion, and bring out Manny Fresh, Birdman, and some other New Orleans rappers. But then I saw a couple of recent performances from Lil Wayne, and I'm all the way good on that. It's not great. So you can go check out some recent performances, and
I'm good there.
Be the judge on your own.
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. I mean, he's got some Hall of Fame records that I will still play today. He's the man.
Never been a big Lil Wayne guy, so I'm fine.
That's fair. But Lil Wayne he's definitely got up there. He's got numbers. But I just wonder how how Drake's gonna feel hearing "Not Like Us" to a marching band. That's just what I really want to know.
He'll be fine.
I don't know about that. He hasn't been fine since. That's why he put 100 gigs of stuff out since. But
Drake's got a big ego, so he'll just turn it into, that's true. Kendrick's biggest song is because of me.
Yeah.
There you go.
I guess Kendrick's Pulitzer Prize was because of him. His most nominated hip hop artist or Grammys is
because of Drake. It's because of the boy.
It's because of the boy. Yeah. Okay. Before we
My
get out
whole
of
thing
here,
with that is that the last Kendrick thing. I know this is not a Kendrick podcast; it's a sports podcast, but
Yeah.
I know we all feel. I know Hayes and I feel very strongly about this topic, at least as Kendrick Lamar fans, and I did like Drake's music up until a few years. I don't really like much of it now, but
It's fair.
he's got some classic records for sure.
Drake has definitely made some phenomenal music.
Oh, totally.
You're
There's no doubt.
You're definitely going to hear Drake in the club, and you're not going to hear Kendrick in the club until Not Like Us comes on, and it has come on in several bars that I've been, and it just changes the whole atmosphere. I'll just leave it at that. But
Where I'm a little discouraged is you usually, if you're performing at the Super Bowl, you usually use that as a launch pad to a tour or album or something. Not that Kendrick needs that leverage right now, because he doesn't. He's not someone like Usher needs that platform. No disrespect to Usher. Usher is the man, but like he has not been, an active artist in a long time.
This concert was going crazy. I've just been seeing it on Instagram.
Yeah. My friends. No, I my best friends were there the other day. Said it was great. I mean, just hit after hit. But do we have to wait until February for new music? I really hope not.
I hope he does the opposite of what most artists do, which they drop after it because it raises their album sales. But he could drop it before, he can drop it after. I think
I don't think he needs the platform.
He doesn't. Yeah, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Maybe he'll feature Harrison on there, and Harrison just will cry on the track and say, "I love Drake."
I like Kendrick. I just need more Kendrick. I just need more Kendrick music.
I hope it's coming. I really hope it's coming. Jason Dominguez is batting 6th and playing center field today. So
hot damn.
Ready for that. Before we get out of here and before Sam closes us out, shout out. You had it on here, Sam, but I know you took it off for time, and I'll just say very quickly. Shout out to Alex Morgan for retiring and such a great career that she's had. What she's done fighting for the women's national team in general, what she's done in her career, watching her walk off the field and the standing ovation that she got, taking the cleats off, putting the captain's band onto the goalie, and just taking that moment and walking off. Just shout out to Alex Morgan. She was definitely my crush for the longest, and then she went and got married and had kids and stuff like that and crushed my dreams. I still love you though, Alex. But no, shout out to her for real and what she's done for this and helped move women's soccer forward. Big kudos to you for sure.
Yeah, love Alex Morgan. Just stand up ambassador for women's soccer, and being left off the national team this year and just took it in stride, and again just a huge impact on athletes today, I'm sure, and especially women. She's class act. So.
Absolutely. All right, Sam. Go ahead, Harrison.
No, nothing else.
Harrison wants to do it.
No. I do not. No.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. Episode 142 in the books. We'll be back next week. Until then, peace.
Go Birds.
Be careful with your parlays out there. Be very, very careful. And whatever you do in your parlays, be sure to exclude the Arizona Cardinals. Goodbye, everybody.